Hello, welcome back. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with Wingnut Wings Wednesday number 14 already. So yeah, hopefully in this one we'll get this done, or if not, as near as done. I've also in this video I'm going to spend some time showing you another book from Gary. Remember we did the beautiful Felixstowe book. Well, he's now sent me a copy of the book he's done for KLP Publishing, which is the False D3A. So we'll have a look at that one. We'll have a look at some pages. I'll give you a taster. But it's also got, that book's got a couple of tutorials in it, and there's also 3 builds in it. It's over 300 pages, but we'll have a look in a minute and see what you think. So anyway, back to this little Fokker. I'm going to do a video about rigging. What have I picked up there? The cowling. I'm going to do a video about rigging because basically, as you know, I've done the rigging on this one. This is my first ever rigging attempt. I've got this wrong, apparently. Apparently, according to Gary, the Fokker E.IV had a ball and socket type thing down here. So basically, I should have used a one-ended turnbuckle and put those in the holes. So rather than having this, you can see there's an actual, if I get on the right angle, you can see there's an actual loop. So what I've got in there is a wire loop with a turnbuckle. The way it goes, the actual turnbuckle would be fitted into a ball. So it would kind of look like a one-ended turnbuckle, if you like. The rest of it would just disappear into the wing. When you're doing that, you obviously have to make sure that if you are going to drill holes and put the turnbuckles in, you need to make sure you've got the hole on the right angle so the turnbuckle is actually following the line of the actual rigging. You don't want to get it, we'll use this side because I know this is stronger. You don't want to end up with your rigging looking like that, for example. You don't want your turnbuckle on that angle when it should be on that angle, or vice versa down the other way. You'll also see I've got very little tension on here. One of the warnings I had when using this lycra stuff is don't do it too taut, because what happens, it just breaks over time. So it also puts a lot of strain on these resin turnbuckles. I've also learnt from my experiences the metal turnbuckles, these metal ones are much better than the resin ones. They're much stronger. And I've ended up using metal ones on the control lines. But believe it or not, I think I put about 20 something hours into this, doing this rigging. The next one will take me like next to nothing. So anyway, the other thing is this lycra rigging is awful. I'm not going to ever use it again. I've ordered something else, but as I say, I'm going to do another video in the Wingnut Wings thing. I may change the name as well. I may change it to World War I Wednesday rather than Wingnut Wings Wednesday, and that sort of opens the scope a bit to cover some other manufacturers. But basically, this lycra stuff, I don't know if you can see. I'm not sure if I covered this in the last video. I don't know if you can see it on here. You can see that I've painted it silver and it kind of fades in and out. And the reason for that is it's like a ribbon, and what you're seeing is it's like a flat ribbon. So one minute you're looking at it like that, so you can hardly see it, and then you look like that and you can see the silver glaring at you. Whereas the other stuff I've got now is round, so that should remain consistent. So I'm not going to re-rig this one because I don't love it enough. As you know, I did this basically as a mule just to try stuff out, and I'm glad I did, because if I'd have made the mistakes on a nice model that I've made on this one, then I'd be really gutted. For instance, you can see here, I don't know if you can make it out, but the end of that eye got broken off on that turnbuckle, so I had to wrap it around the neck. I was talking to somebody at the Avon show that was very much into World War I, and he said, what's happening here? You can see this tail sticking up that I can't get rid of. And what that is, apparently the lycra stuff is made up of lots and lots of little fibres. And apparently, as soon as you get it near super glue, in fact, I'm going to show you. Okay, so I've got this, this is a piece of this is the Infini medium black rigging, which is 0.135. It's not round, it's flat in section, it's very, very stretchy, as you can see. And it's not very good, really. It's the same as Easy Line. It's the same as the Ushi Van der Rosten stuff, whatever it is. It's not very good. What I'm going to do, I'll just show you this. I've got a drop of super glue on my tray here, and you can see the end of that is nice and straight. If I just touch that in there, you can see that it's made the end curl up. Now, I was chatting to this guy. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name. I'm not even sure I even asked your name. He was very knowledgeable on all this sort of stuff. And what he said to me was basically it's made up of lots of little ribbons, and what's happening is the super glue is capillary in, and as it dries out, it's kind of shrinking back. So what's happening is where I've got it wrapped around those turnbuckles, it's pulling itself back out. So it's just going to keep going until there's nothing left to cut off. And that's what's happening. The other thing I found while I was modelling, I literally touched a piece of rigging with some super glue. Now watch this. I never thought this would happen. Okay, so I've got a drop of super glue on there. I'm literally going to tap that on there. So there is literally a tiny drop of super glue there. Okay, so as I let it go, watch what happens. Can you? I don't know if you can see it. What I'll do is I'll put more on to make it obvious, more obvious. There you go. You can see that whole area where I've put the glue. You can see it's all distorted. And that's what's happening. So apparently that doesn't happen with the other stuff I've got, the model cast and stuff. So as soon as it comes, I'll do a video on it and we'll put it in the Wingnut Wings Wednesday. So this stuff is basically, I guess, going in the bin. I'm not ever going to use it again. Well, I've got to use it on this one because we've got 2 wires to come from here out to the engine cowling. I'm gonna, unless the other stuff turns up today, I'm gonna use that, or maybe it's tomorrow, whatever. Today is actually Monday the 12th of August 2024, so you're seeing this 2 days after I'm actually recording this. So the next thing to do now, I've got to get this rigging painted as well. That's the other thing. I've tried using a Sharpie like Gary does, and it doesn't seem to work on this. So I'm using the Viejo paint on a brush, and it's, yeah, great. As I say, I don't like the model. I'm not a fan of the model. I don't like the look of it as a finished plane. There's nothing that I find attractive about this model in any way, shape or form. So I'm glad I've done it as a precursor, as I say. So now we've got to glue the engine in. So basically we've got this hub on the back of the engine. Alright, and that's going to go into that hole. But what I'm finding is it doesn't sort of sit right back in. So what I want to do is take it out. And what I want to do is just use this ball-ended burr. Just take some plastic off of there, because I'm wondering if it's because there's a radius on the root of the part. Yeah, you see it's fitting right back in there now, lovely. So what we can do now is get some Tamiya extra thin and brush it around there. So it's 30 degrees today, it's just everything's just drying straight away. Not sure, that's not holding it at all, is it? I'll have to use some of the white. The white glue is thicker and dries slower. I could use a drop of super glue, but that's the thin I've got there. So we just put some of that around there like that. Then get the engine in there. There we go. Now something that is a bit of a concern. So I may need to glue the engine in solid. We shall see. Look at that. As long as the prop sits square. So we need the engine to be square in all directions. That's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Yeah. Please tell me, guys, in the comments below, what do you do with your models with that? Do you just glue the engine solid? Because the thing is with this, it's not a radial engine, it's a rotary, so the whole engine spins with the propeller. The crankshaft is bolted to the bulkhead, and then the engine spins around the crankshaft, and the propeller is bolted to the crankcase. Yeah, I'm not happy with that at all. Ah, hang on, it's going to have a support on the front, isn't it? It's got a support here. So that's going to go on over there like that. Hey. Yeah, so that's going to support the front of the engine, so we can have a turning engine. There we go. Aha, Wingnut Wings have rescued us. Looks good, doesn't it? Even if it is an ugly thing, it's quite good. So there we go. If you want to see a video of the engine build, I did do some early videos. Maybe I'll put them up. Maybe I can put them in this video or something. In fact, yeah, I'll add them to the end of this video, because basically I did videos about the cockpit, engine, and I think I've done a video on the guns as well. Whatever it is, I'll attach them to this video, so it could be a really long one, this one. But once you've seen the end of the actual book review, that's it. You don't need to watch the rest, but if you want to, you can. So there we are. Our engine is glued into position. Now, looking in the manual, it's looking a lot better now with an engine, actually, I must be honest. I'm getting quite fond of it now. It's quite nice. I wonder what's going on with the propeller. I have to paint the propeller yet. That's going to go on there like that. So yeah, it's looking. It's actually looking all right. Right. So yeah, we've got to do this cowling. So if we go into the instructions back here, step 4, we built the engine. We've got the engine fitted, and then done all this. We've got to do this framework inside the cowling. So basically there is a framework in here which is painted in this German green-grey colour, and I've got this clipped in. It does fit very nicely. Okay, but what I need to do, there are some cables. You can see them here. There's a cable there hanging off from that point there, and it comes through the cowl and goes back to the lower inner forward turnbuckle. So we've got a hole drilled in there, and then this piece here is going to sit in like that. We've got a little pin in there that lines it up and everything. So we're going to have a cable, a piece of easy line wrapped around there and coming through the side, and that'll be attached to a turnbuckle and then back to the other turnbuckle. So that's the other thing we need to do now. So what I'm going to do is in fact what I'll do first of all, I think, is I'm going to glue this frame here. Remove some paint, I think. Remove some paint from in there, just to make sure we get a nice strong joint. So that's going to go in there like that. So we'll put a drop of cement on there. I'm going to put a drop there and a drop there, just enough to tack it in place. Okay, this all got to be weathered and everything yet. And then what I want to do is test fit this in position like so. Tweezers. And then I can look through that hole and see where it comes. It's directly in front of that. So we need to put what we need to do is tie the easy line off and not actually fix it, because we need to be able to position it, because we don't want it coming out of there on a silly angle, do we? So what I need to try and do, if it's possible, let's get this out of this packet. Come on, out. Right. We'll have a decent length. Don't know how much we waste, because it's probably all going to go in the bin anyway. Right, so I'm going to see if I can tie this. If I can tie a knot. There we go, so there's a loop. I don't want it to go around there, I want it to see it's gone around that little lug sticking out. I want it to stay on this bit here. Alright, so we can leave that like that. Maybe give it another. None of this is going to be seen because it's all up inside the cowling. Oh, this is joy. I can't wait for that other stuff to come, because the stuff that Gary's recommended, I've had to order it from Japan. I think this is making life hard, I've got to be honest. So that should stay done up like that. And then this is going to go, which side is it? Which side is it? It's that side, isn't it? So that has got to go through. Oh dear. This is not interesting viewing, is it, guys? Sorry. That's got to go through that hole there. No, go through that bloody hole, you swine. This is when it gets really fun. Right. Got to be so careful with stretching it, because you stretch it and then you let it go and it springs back. It's a pain. Okay, so this is going to go into there. I could pull that in position with that one. Look. We'll grab that tail, get that out of there. So it doesn't become part of the assembly. Go away, you are not wanted. And then that is going to go into that hole there. Oh, come on. A little pin there's got to go in there, and that little pin there has got to go into there. There we go. So that's our rigging attached. So drop of extra thin in there. And a drop of extra thin on there. That should be enough to hold that in. Okay, and then we can hold that one, pull this one taut, and I should be able to put a drop of super glue on there to lock that in place. And then that rigging is going to come out the side there. Cool. Right, I'll get the other side done, and then I'm also wondering, I wonder how extra thin affects this stuff. Oh, it doesn't like that, does it? Look at that. No, it doesn't like that. Right, so that's glued in place. We'll let that dry and then we'll trim that off. And I'll come back after I've done the other side. Right, so I've got those turnbuckles on, not the tidiest knots in the world, but they're on there. And I've also added a wash inside just to sort of tone it down a bit. And you can see there's a wash on the front here as well. I'm just going to go over the cotton bud and just wipe off the excess. and then we can have a look afterwards at what else we're going to do with it. So basically I'm looking at this, and this slides over this shaft on the front here and then goes in to there. Okay, but you can see it keeps wanting to spring out and there's no real way I can clamp it in there. So what I'm going to have to do is put it in with super glue, which is something I really don't like doing, as you all know. So what I'm going to do is put some of the Tamiya white glue in there. Okay, that should hold it there. And then I'm going to put some super glue up under here. Hopefully that'll just be enough to bite it. So we'll make sure our rigging's out of the way. Slide this over the crankshaft, under the guns, and then push it back and hold it. Hopefully, he says, it'll hold it. We shall see. And then of course I've got to pull the sides in as well. That has held. Wow. Right, so I'm going to hold that for another few minutes. So I'll come back when we've done that. Right, so we've got the cowlie glued on, and we've got the rigging done here, and I've gone over and painted the rigging with the steel paint from Viejo Model Air Steel. So, as I said at the beginning of this project, with this model, if it can go wrong, it goes wrong. I made up this paper mask. Just get a piece of paper, cut a slit in it, and then what you do is feed it under here, feed it under there, just like so, and then feed it around the turnbuckle, and then you can do your painting. So I'm doing that. Didn't realise all the time I was knocking the brush into the side of the fuselage, so I got silver paint all over here. Luckily I got it straight away. I managed to remove it with a cotton bud, so that's no big problem. Also, when you're painting the rigging, if the brush flicks, you end up flicking silver paint all over the wing, so then you have to brush it off. You can see some there. I'm going to have to go over it with another little wash, I think. And then the other thing was, as I say, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. So this propeller has been sprayed with an LP, I think it was 55, because I was going to do some wood grain, and then I realised this actual propeller is not wood grained. It looks like it's just one solid piece of dark wood. But look what's happened. I've painted over it with LP 59, which is equivalent to XF 68 NATO brown, and you can see we've got some cracking. I've never seen this before, ever, with LP paints. We got cracking on the surface. So as I say, this bloody model, if it can go wrong, it's gone wrong. It's every step of the way. It's been a complete and utter shambles. Building this, comparing something like a 1/24th scale Airfix Spitfire Mark 9 or the new Mark 8, comparing that to this is like comparing a starter set Spitfire to a Border Models Lancaster. And no, I'm not exaggerating. This thing has been an absolute utter nightmare. I noticed a while back, Mark from Montana did a sort of video about inbox reviews for Wingnut Wings, and I think basically the gist of it may have even been aimed slightly at me. I think the gist of the video was everybody's saying, oh my god, these Wingnut Wings kits, they're absolutely stunning and they're amazing and everything. And true to form, I've been saying that all the way along, and they are my holy grail. I've never built one. Now I've built one, I tell you what, my attitude has changed. They are very difficult to build, and people like Gary, who does the books that you're going to see in a minute, the results he gets, I mean, he is a master modeler, absolute master modeler. I've made a complete and utter mess of this, and for those of you that are going to say, you shouldn't be saying that because people who can't achieve that standard will just give up. Well, if they want to give up and not try harder, then that's down to them. That's not down to me. But there's a lot of that being talked about lately on the internet, and it's that people come along, they build these models, and other people just give up because they can never reach your standard. Well, what do you want me to do? Make shit models? Do you want me to just build crap? You know, do you want me to sort of purposely get runs and stuff and get orange peel and not show you how to get around bad decals and stuff? Just have decals that fall off? Is that what you want me to do? Because I'm not going to do it. But honestly, you know, some of you may be looking at this thinking it's lovely. I look at it and think, oh my God, it's a mess. I also need to do some leather pads on here. I need to do some chipping around there, and I need to paint this propeller again. When it's dry, I'll sand it back and I'll paint it again. I don't know what's gone on there. I put a little bit more thinner than I normally would because it's so warm today. Maybe that's what's caused it. But if you wanted that effect, if you wanted that cracked effect, you'd struggle like hell to get it, wouldn't you? Right, anyway, let's have a look at this book, and then we're going to call it a day. And at the end of the video, I'll put on the old videos I did about the cockpit interior. I think there's one for the engine, there's one for the interior, I think there's one for the guns. But I'll add those on to the end of this video, so it's going to be a long one, but you don't need to watch it all, obviously. You never do, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'll see you later. Okay, here we go, back again, all done on a hot Monday afternoon. The noise you can hear in the background is a fan. It's blowing cold air this way, which is very nice. So we got it all done. We've got the propeller all painted, masked up. I've also put some black brown oil wash on the propeller. I just want to give it a stroke, who misses, just to try and impart a bit of a sort of a wood grain look to it. I don't know. I'm looking at the pictures and it looks like it's just dark brown, but then the photos are all black and white. I looked on the Wingnut Wings website, and their built one also looks just dark brown, but it does need to be let back. It needs to be semi-gloss, but that's a bit too glossy there in the middle. But we've got the decals on and everything, so that's all good. So the propeller's looking lovely. You can just plonk that on there. The engine won't actually turn within the, well, it's going to break if I try, so I'm just going to leave the prop loose. Maybe put on a little tiny drop of white glue in case it gets knocked, and then it'll just come off. But it's pretty much done. You can see I've added the fuel gauge there with the decal on for the gauge. I've also done some oil work here. I noticed on the Wingnut Wings one they had some staining on the wing ribs here at the back, so that's quite effective. So yeah, probably not completely finished, but if you're building one of these, you need to be really careful with these little elevators at the back, or elevons, or whatever they are. Televons, televives, I don't know. So yeah, be careful with those. And but yeah, overall, nice looking little model. Well, it's not, is it? It's an ugly bloody thing, I think. But I'm glad I've done it, as I said, on a couple of occasions now. It was, you can see how flimsy everything is. It was all done as an experiment to see, for my first having a go at rigging. If I did another one of these, I would go back to my little brass tubes bit that I talked about before, little 4mm long brass tubes, and not bother with turnbuckles, because they're wrong anyway. They shouldn't have that loop on that end, as was pointed out to me by Gary. So the cable should just go down through there, so I would just use my little brass tubes and put the cables through. If I did another one, that is what I would do. But I wanted to experiment with turnbuckles, and I wanted to see if I could do this where I have the turnbuckles moving so they form the perfect straight line on everything. So there we are. I've learned a hell of a lot. So anyway, as I said just now, or I might have edited it out, we'll see. Let's go and have a look at that book, and then at the end of that, you're going to get the video I did many moons ago about the cockpit, and a video about the engine. And that was that was in my very early days, so you'll notice a very big difference in my quality. It was much better then. Right, I'll see you all next week for Wingnut Wings 15 or World War I 15, whatever it may be. We shall see. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your patience, and hope I've still got to do those bits of leather on there and the steps. Duh. All right, I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. So then, here we go. This is a review, a quick look at a book, again from Gary Boxall. This is on the Wingnut Wings False D3A. In this book, it has 361 pages, believe it or not. It's massive. And it's by KLP Publishing again, as I said before. I'll put a link to KLP's website down below, and then you can go look at the other books there as well. But you'll find this book there. I think it's on page 3. And it's $20. Now, I couldn't find anywhere on the website. If any of you know, please tell me for future reference. When it says $20, is that Australian dollars or US dollars? I'm thinking it's US dollars because that's what most people use, but I know KLP are based in Australia, so certainly Kevin, who's the main man, he's Australian. So there we go. But the address is klp.com.au. Should you want to go and have a look, they've got some great books on there, and it's not just World War One, it's not just 32nd scale, it's not even just aircraft. There's all sorts there, and there's some fantastic build guides. But they do give you a review on the website, a few pages to look at, and how many pages there are, who authored it, and what versions and variations. In this book, you're going to get 3 versions being built, three full builds, and also some hints and tips sections. And again, just like I said with the Felix though, even if like me you have no interest whatsoever in building that aircraft, I personally think it's awful. I don't like the look of it at all. That's just my opinion. But to build another Wingnut Wings kit, this book for me would be absolutely invaluable, because once again, as you'll see, Gary has put this book together, and not only does he say, you know, I've done this by adding some oils and then wiping away with a cotton bud, he shows you what oil he used, if he mixed it himself, what consistency he used, what cotton buds he used, and the process to do it as well. It's very, very detailed. You'll see when we get to bits like weathering the engines, he's got every single product he's used laid out there for you to see, so that you can look at it and think, I need that, I don't need that, I didn't know that existed, blah, 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 and so on. So anyway, there's the front page, and as you can see up in the top right hand corner, it says 3 builds. This is Build Guide Series number 18. So you're going to hear me clicking the mouse, because as usual, as we did before, I'm sat back and I'm basically, I've got the camera next to me and I'm looking at the computer and clicking through. So you'll hear me click the mouse. There you go. Come on. It doesn't want to play ball. There we are. Right. So here we have the contents page, and this is a very important part of this review. I'm not going to be showing you a hell of a lot. I'm showing you about 30 pages. As I say, it's 361 pages long, this book, and there's no way I'm going through that. So we've got about the kit. So there's a review of the kit itself, all the plastic and the photo etch, all the different versions that Wingnut Wings released. He's showing you all of those on here. So absolutely brilliant. Then there's a short bit about Gary himself, which looks to be the same as we looked at in the Felix though, so I'm not going to look at that again. Build 1 is Ugin Singh Pelkamp's Pfalz D3A. Then there's a tutorial on rigging, which is absolutely amazing. I'll show you a couple of pages out of that and we'll go through that. Build 2 is Hans-Jörg von der Maurits Pfalz D3A. So that's another completely different build. Then we've got another tutorial, which is masking over decals, which is invaluable even if you're not into Wingnut Wings. It's a very invaluable little tutorial about how to go over that. And then build 3, Alloy Heldman's Pfalz DC3, or D3 DC3, it's not a bloody jetliner, right? Conversion. And then we've got the appendices at the end. And with each one there is a little gallery of photographs so you can see the finished model. So yes, very, very nice indeed. So then, build 1, Ugin Simpelkamp's, sorry, Simpelkamp's Pfalz D3A. And so it's build 1, and then we're starting off with a review of the kit. So this is basically, you can see this is the first page looking at the review of the kit, and you can see the plastic parts there, and you can see there's a couple of examples up there up top. Going on with the seat, you can see the work he's done on the seat there using the kit supplied photo etch seat belts and some bits of tin foil and stuff to achieve that amazing looking seat. There's another couple of options for seats in there as well. The seats are very deeply covered in here. So the first build, what I found from flicking through this book, the first build seems to be quite generic, and he shows you bits and pieces of the other builds as well, and then the other builds are sort of specific to the differences. So the first build is sort of, you know, if the first build is 100 pages, the other two are sort of 40 pages each. That's how it goes. So you can see, starting on the cockpit, he's got some tin foil down in the seat there, cleaned up all the bulkheads, making some holes and lining everything up, and yeah, got the getting ready to put control cables through and stuff like that. For the instrument panel, rather than just use the moulded on detail, he's removing the moulded on detail and then adding the air scale bezels. I've got some of these, they are beautiful, and it gives you that very sharp sort of, like it's a separate gauge pushed through a hole in a wooden instrument panel rather than a moulded on plastic ring. It sort of gets rid of that moulded in corner, if you like, and using crystal clear to give us the glass look on the front. Two different types of floor there. You can see the one on the left is wood grain, the one on the right is wood and then primered in grey. Both of them are scuffed. You can see the primered grey is scuffed away and showing the wood underneath, and then he's got mud and foliage on the floors as well. So obviously the planes were, in the winter, they'd have been, you know, parked up in muddy wet fields, so their feet would have been filthy dirty. So interesting approach there. And there you can see two finished cockpits. The one on the top is the wood grain, and the one below and the side-on view is the one with the grey paint on. So two different ways of going about it there. You can see also interestingly, the one in the middle there, if you like, the bottom of the aerial view has red seat belts, which is very interesting. Going on to machinery guns, we're here on page 69 now, so you can see we're flicking through the book, and you can see here how I've actually done a video on how to do this, how he's rolled the barrels up and then solder them together, solder the ends on. Super gluing stuff like this is really not recommended because the contact areas, because everything's edge to edge, the contact areas are so bloody small, it's just so easy to just have it all fall apart. But as I show you in my video that I've done way back when you solder it, you can really go to town and pull it about and it won't fall apart. And you can sand it back and you'll never see the joint. Absolutely incredible way of doing it. And this is what I was talking about just now. Here you can see he's built the engines, weathered them up, and he gives a description there and a picture of all the different bits and pieces he's used. So you may not want to buy all those. He's got those to hand, and you can use them or not to your heart's content. This is what I had to pick up on because he does here exactly the same as I do. So you're building your model, you're sanding it, you've got some primer down, whatever, and you start to see a seam appear. So rather than try and fill it, what you do is gouge it open with a knife or a scriber or something, and then get some of our famous black super glue in there. I believe he uses the Big Ambo stuff, but I prefer the VMS, to be honest. I've got the Big Ambo, but I prefer the VMS. But there we go. So in fact, I'm going to have to start using the Big Ambo for filling ejector pin marks and stuff, because I don't want to waste my VMS on ejector pin marks when I can use it for other good stuff. So there we go. So yeah, he's I like that because he's doing exactly what I do. Here I had to show you this because it just looks so amazing. The part at the top there you can see is a photo etch part out of the kit. Okay, but there's no support for that rod coming back, so he's actually used a little piece of the kit, and he's described here how it all worked in real life, and there was a ball bearing and a latch and all this, that and the other. So he's remade that so it looks, because I mean it's such a prominent part of the model, it's right there on the top of the wing. And yeah, it was there. The pilot would pull it back to set positions, so he could have that shutter in certain positions. There's another option there below. I can only assume that that's what comes in one of the other kits because it doesn't have the levers in it, the same as the one on the top. But he may have scratched that himself. I don't know, but that's what I'm assuming. Here we go. He is absolutely fantastic with his decals. I'm not sure if he's used Aviatic here or if he's used the standard Wingnut wings, but I know he did say in his Felix though the Wingnut wings can be a bit yeah, troublesome. The Aviatic decals apparently are perfect, but get the book, have a read, and you'll see exactly what he's talking about. Here he's talking about punching holes, so where the rigging's going to go in that, punching holes in the decals, but obviously you get one shot, and if you make a mistake, you've just scrapped a decal, so there you go. Up to you which way you go. Talking about painting propellers here, you can see you've got 3 different styles of propeller there, all painted in different ways. He does go through how to paint the propellers, how he does it, so you can go and watch. And there he's got the guns there painted up, and looking at how he does it. Here you can see we've got this tubing. You can see the tube there that's moulded on the bottom is a thicker tube, and he's added some wire to make it look like it's got some connectors on the end. And you can see there the fuel feed wires going down, or fuel feed pipes going down into the engine, and he's replaced those with wire rather than using the thick plastic parts. Here we are, a tutorial all about rigging. I'm only going to show you a couple of pages of this, otherwise it wouldn't be worth you buying the book, would it? So yeah, he's done a complete bit here on rigging. Some of it is taken over from the Felix though, some of the wording, but most of it is new. So here you can see what he's using. He's using one-ended resin turnbuckles in 1/48 scale because he thinks the 32nd scale ones are too big. And then he's got the model cast and For some reason it's called 0.6, but it's actually 0.13 millimeters. And I don't get it because the other size is called 1.5, and that's 0.2 millimeters. So I don't know what it refers to. But there we go. Having now done some rigging, I can tell you that every bit of rigging I've got is rubbish, and that the easy line and everything is just horrible, as you've seen just now in my little Fokker. The model cast and stuff, however, is a round section. Now I've got some on order. And as I said, as soon as I get some, I'll do a review. As far as turnbuckles go, metal all the way. Honestly, you can pull them about, you can knock them. As you know with mine, I found that where I glued them into the arms on the rudder and the elevators, just touch them when they're the 3D printed ones. Just touch them, they shatter. So yeah, really annoying. I spent hours and hours and hours doing that. So I've learnt the hard way. I've now ordered some more turnbuckles from Gaspatch. So we shall see where we are going forward. And here you can see he's showing how he's putting the rigging down and getting the angle correct with those one-ended turnbuckles. So just make sure you drill the hole a little bit big, attach it at the top first, and then you can pull it down into the super glue and make sure the angle's correct. So we'll have to give that one a go, won't we? I think we'll do the LVG perhaps next, or maybe the Sopwith Cam. We shall see. Probably do the LVG because that's got the inferior resin wings that I had to make anyway. So we shall see. There we go, and then trimming the excess off so you don't get those horrible knots at the end. That's the other thing with the, as I mentioned earlier, I was chatting to a guy at the Avon show, and he was telling me that the way the Lycra sort of is attacked by the super glue, it's constantly trying to unravel itself, so you end up with these little pigtails everywhere. It's horrible, it's horrible stuff. So I'm glad I learnt the hard way on that Fokker E.IV because I'd be really upset if I did it on anything else, so even the LVG. Now we're on to build number 2, and this is Hans-Jörg von der Marwitz Pfalz D3A. As you can see, this is a simple brown scheme with the big orange triangles and that, and pretty much the same aircraft, but he just goes through the differences in the build. As you can see, jumping straight there to the sort of final stages, and there you can see pictures there of the finished model. They've got another tutorial, masking over decals. So here you can see what he's done on this wing. Is that a wing? Looks like it's a wing because we've got tape over the top. Getting the because apparently when they did this, they brushed on grey paint underneath before they put the crosses on there. So that's what he's doing, masking over decals to get that finish. And you can see there the end result. Oh, and you can see there what he's done is he's sort of converted it, so it used to have the different sort of bigger cross, and now it's got the thinner cross on it, which is very interesting. And then we've got build 3. This is Aloy Heldman's Pfalz D3, and this is called a conversion. I don't know quite what's converted. There is a few little bits and pieces you can see in here. There's the engine for it, looking lovely. There's all the cockpit and everything. And that looks like it's been primed in that German grey-green colour XF76. But yeah, absolutely beautiful build with all the rigging and control cables and everything. Gary really is one hell of a modeler, I can assure you. He's absolutely amazing, isn't he? And then here you can see he's talking more about rigging. So you've got the little Gaspatch metal. I've taken this tip off of it. It does work extremely well. When you do break them off, you end up with a little metal tail, and the metal they're made of is very, very hard. It's difficult to file. You certainly ain't going to cut it off with a knife or a pair of snips. You just destroy your snips. And often if you try and file it, the sort of grooves in the file cause so much vibration, you can just snap the eye off the end of the turnbuckle. So what he's doing there is sanding it off. And here we've got the model being painted in that beautiful purple and green scheme, which I love for the Junkers J1, for example. But in fact, there's a Junkers J1 on there, but he's using AK paints. Why would you want to do that? There we go. And then here's a gallery of the finished model. So there it is, absolutely beautiful. And again, I mean, it's got rigging, but the actual paint scheme and everything is fairly simple. So if you do want to have a go at a Wingnut Wings kit and you've got this in your stash, perhaps give it a go. There we are. And that's it. That's the end of the book. So there we go. So that was build series number 18. As I say, if you want to get the book, go to the link in the description below, or go to klp.com.au. There's no there's no kickback from me or anything, so don't worry about that. They're not looking for how much traffic I get them. But and KLP haven't sent me this book. Gary sent me this book, so for me to have a look at. And I said, thank you very much. I'll do a quick review on it just to get it out there. So there we are. You may see some more of these KLP books coming your way. We shall see going forward. But maybe Gary's done some more. Maybe he'll send me another one. I don't know. But very, very much worth having. Really, really good guides on, and really, really professional modelers giving their hints and tips on how to make things better. I wish somebody would do one on how to correct them. I know Ian Ogilvy has done one book for these guys, and I know that Ian Ogilvy was looking at actually converting the wing on the 1/32 scale Liberator and making it look right, but I don't think he ever finished it. So, but it would be nice to see a book on how to do that. Anyway, as I say, go take a look. There's lots of books there, and they all look very, very good indeed. I bought the one for the FW189 that I've got from HPH Models in 1/32 scale, and it was like $8. It's nothing, and it's a book that I've got on my computer for the rest of my life. The other thing to remember is when they do an update, if you get all the books come out as V1, if KLP launch a V2, you instantly get the update. So worth remembering, you're always going to get refreshed, so that's really nice to know as well. So there we go. Right, let's have a look at these old videos that I did on the old Fokker, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Hello there. This is looking at the Wingnut Wings Fokker E.IV, and I'm going to make a start on the cockpit. Please remember to like and subscribe, or dislike if you don't like this, and if you don't like it, please tell me why. This kit is just gorgeous. If you remember, if you've seen my inbox review of it, and I also did a build of the engine, I bought this kit on eBay. There was a tiny little note at the end that said the floor panel had been removed from the sprue, if you remember, and it said that it had been painted in grey primer. Just to quickly recap, it was painted in grey primer over a very thick coat of white primer over some brown paint. It looked like somebody had a go at Wood Effects, and it looked like they tried to achieve a wood grain pattern on the floor by hacking it up with a knife. So I had to repair the floor with some Mr. Surfacer, sand it all back, and that's what it's like now. This is like a desert yellow colour or a buff colour, I can't remember now, and then I put some spots on there to just imitate wood knots. Look at my other videos, you'll see my my woodwork on there, especially on the ambulance video, you'll see it there. And then in the instructions they give you the option to do they actually tell you to do the rear panel here brown, a darker brown, and they tell you to do the floor here in a light or a dark brown. So just for a bit of colour variation, I've decided to use both, add a bit of interest to it. I don't think you're going to see much of this cockpit anyway once it's in. But yeah, when I say this kit is beautiful, it's things like this I'm talking about. Now, this is the what's it called? It's the hand air pump for pressurising the fuel tank. So obviously they had to keep pumping while they were flying to keep the fuel tank pressurised, so that the fuel kept getting through to the engine. But the way Wingnut Wings think about things, this actually mounts into the fuse, into the side this way. So the sprue connection point is at the bottom. So you can paint this on the sprue and no one's ever going to see the connection point. Likewise with these parts here. Now these are parts of the rudder pedal assembly, and this frame goes this way, so when you look, you're looking at the front there, sprue connections at the back. This part goes like that, so when you look in the cockpit, you're looking at that part, sprue connections at the back. It's just thoughtful stuff like that, so you can leave it on the sprue, paint it, and then trim it off after. It's wonderful. I mean, the control stick is just gorgeous. They've made it a separate part, and yeah, I mean, this is actually under the seat, so I'm holding it there to so because it's not going to be seen. This is the framework underneath the seat. This is the leather pad there. You can see, you know, it's beautiful. What else have we got here? This is the main wing spar where the wings attach, and they're bound on with rope at the ends. You can see the rope there. Side panels, there's one. What's also nice about this, they mould all this on as one, so it's a much easier job to clean up, and rather than having tiny little fiddly parts to assemble. The only part that's glued on is that TriStar wheel there, which I'm assuming is some kind of trim. And then you got this one here. In fact, no, it tells you what it is. No, it doesn't. It doesn't tell you what it is. Sorry. I don't know what that is. And then you've got this one here. So, and that the only part that's glued on is this part here, which is the tachometer. But just look at the moulding detail. It is stunning. It's absolutely stunning. So I'm going to get this painted now, and I'll be back and show you then. Right, so now we've got some paint. You've seen that. Got some paint on the inside of the fuselage halves there. That's just for a start. It gives you the option of painting it like RLM22 or XF60, which they call Fokker. What is it they call it? Fokker beige. I don't know. XF60, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. The other thing is RLM22 is the colour they suggest for the fuel tank. I haven't painted the air intake yet, but they suggest RLM22 as the colour for the fuel tank, and I always thought that the framework inside the aircraft was RLM22 as well, but no, they're calling it interior grey green XF76. So I've gone for the way they've suggested, and I've also done some detail painting of the pipework there, and there's the tachometer in there, and you can see there's some handles and stuff. There's also an aluminium frame there, which is like an ammunition support by the look of it, and then we got the same on the other side with another copper pipe, and that there looking lovely. Here's the little brass fuel tank pressurization pump thing. Control yoke all masked up. The actual bottom part is green, and the actual yoke itself is semi-gloss black. So that's given again as an option in the instructions. Seat base, done the actual seat leather in Gun Sangyo Cocoa Brown. Then what I'm going to do is glue the back on, which is here painted, and then paint the outside, and this lower seat pan part needs to be that same colour as well, but the actual framework needs to remain that grey green colour. And that is about that. We've got the I've done the I called this earlier on the wing spar. Of course it's not the wing spar, it's the main support for the undercarriage legs. So yeah, and I can see on the ends it's got rope there, it's bound with rope. So I've painted that in khaki brown. And then of course when it all gets a light wash, it'll look a lot prettier. So there we go. This is a very quick little video. Hi everyone, very quick video here. I wasn't going to video this, but I'm so impressed with it I thought I would. This is this Fokker E.IV from Wingnut Wings, and I'm just going to build the engine. Remember in my what is all the fuss about video, I looked at, I painted it all and everything, and had it all on a stand ready to go together. Well, I've built it now, so just a few minutes, and just some of my thoughts going through the progress. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, subscribe, because there's going to be a lot more Wingnut Wings stuff coming. With Wingnut Wings, people talk about the issues with high tolerances and stuff, and you must have heard it where people have said if you paint certain items you need to clean the paint off the joining parts because they won't go together even with a very thin layer of paint on them. Well, we can use that to our advantage as well. With this engine I'm building for this this lovely little Fokker E.IV, this is a push rod. So what I'm going to do is nip it off the sprue. It's all I've painted it all already, so I'm just going to take it off the sprue, give it a clean up with a sanding stick, like so. So I remove the nib. Then I'm going to place it on the engine, like so. And then line up the actual push rod with the hole it's going into and just push down. And you can so typical, they've all gone in beautifully, and this one I decided to show you on the camera doesn't go in first time. So line that up with the hole it's got to go into and just push down, and now that is fitted in there solid and not going anywhere. And you can see here I've done all these push rods here, none of them are glued. They're just in there with friction, and the paint is holding them in there, and the paint will, you wouldn't be able to pull them out because the paint will kind of stick them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it still needs to be finished, all these areas need to be painted, but easier to do when it's assembled. But yeah, there you go. Bloody love these kits. And here's the engine all assembled. I haven't fitted the magneto yet on the back, or the plug leads, but yeah, just wanted to show you that. That is absolutely stunning in my opinion, and I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, it's nothing to do with my building or painting. The kit is just gorgeous, it really is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm not sure if I'm even going to bother giving it a wash because it may detract. I may just put some dark grey wash around those cylinder barrels, I don't know, but yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And another little thing to remember, if you do build this kit, this has got the twin row engine, so you get 2 engine sprues, so you get a full spare set of push rods. So keep them in your spares box, and then if you build a Fokker E.IV or an E.2 with the single bank of cylinders, you'll have a pre-painted set of push rods. So another little tip for you there. There we go. Engine, as far as I'm concerned, finished. I'm undecided at the moment whether to give it a wash or not. I don't know. I'm worried that it's going to highlight those seams in the cylinders that you can see there, but as you look at the engine at this angle, they're not really that apparent, so you know, I'm not really sure whether I should give it a wash or not. But I've put the plug leads on the back. They've gone on. I'll probably dab some paint on the ends of those so they look like some sort of cap or whatever, I don't know. I'm looking for pictures of what they should look like. Maybe you can help in the comments below. But yeah, there we go. That's the Wingnut Wings Fokker E.IV double row rotary engine. The Urbarul E3, U3, whatever it is. And one more little tip. This stuff is amazing. Kicker pen. This is a it's a kicker, and what I've done here, like with those plug leads, I've put a dab of super glue on the actual spark plug. There you go, focus, yeah. Put a dab of glue on the spark plug, and then I've run the this stuff along the easy line, and then as soon as you touch the lead onto the super glue, bang, gone. So yeah. Oh, and one other thing, why have I got this in a close peg? Because this piece here, as you can see, the paint is coming off, and that is one of the issues with the Guns metal colours. They do rub off, they're not very hardy. So I've been holding the engine like this on the spindle and actually worn the paint off. This silver paint on my fingers, it's worn off my fingers. So yeah, I put it in a close peg and then I don't have to touch it. So there we go. I'm really chuffed with that. Really, really chuffed. Lovely little engine, and a fairly simple assembly as well, not overcomplicated at all. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.